So Millie Bobby Brown recently adopted a baby daughter, and there was a lot of pushback to her decision to become a mom at such a young age, and also for her decision to adopt instead of naturally conceiving a child. All of that aside, it seems like her husband, Jake Bongiovi, is getting a lot of negativity on the timeline lately because they believe that he is not active enough in their child's life, and he has been spotted in multiple paparazzi photos and videos not carrying their child or any of their stuff that they bring with them, like the carrier, the car seat, etc. This is a delicate issue because they're being photographed and recorded all the time, and they're very serious about maintaining their child's privacy. And a lot of Millie Bobby Brown's fans feel that she is responsible for doing all of the work in that regard, based on this evidence. In this first video, you can see Millie walking into a building from their car, threatening paparazzi who are trying to snap photos of her child's face.
Hold on, let me do this. Here we go.
And Jake Bongiovi is following her behind, but not carrying the child and not staying close to his child either.
Bro's like, I got stuff to do.
And the first response to this, with 12,000 retweets and 279,000 likes, says, "Her husband is effing useless." To which one other fan responded with these photos from the paparazzi the other day, where Millie is getting out of their car, carrying this huge diaper bag, carrying another huge backpack, and the baby in the baby carrier, while Jake Bongiovi is carrying nothing. And they said, "Somebody wake her up, please." It also seems like she's usually the one putting the baby in the stroller, putting the baby in the car when they're getting into a car. He's not really doing much. He's on the sidelines.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That ain't my kid.
And they're saying, did you all discover that he's a piece of shit now? Only now? With all of this evidence that she is doing all the work for parenting. Another one said, she has been traumatized into thinking she's mature because she's worked and provided for her family since too young of an age, when she's only 21, married with a kid, and I feel like her husband doesn't have the same mindset because he didn't grow up struggling.
They're too different. Stand the people that like think that they have some kind of inside knowledge about a relationship or a family because they saw some pictures from paparazzi.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that he's a great guy, or I'm not saying that I have any knowledge either, but people that will go and pontificate and act as if they're some kind of authority on people because they're like, well, I saw some pictures, man. It's like, bro, shut up and get a life.
Yeah, it might totally be the case that Millie is, because she's a new mom, insisting on doing all of these things instead of him, even if he is offered to help. Yeah. That's, I'm sure, something that a lot of men experience.
My girlfriend worries about everything with our baby. Everything.
It's only natural.
Oh, yeah, of course. And I don't fault her for this. But she's kind of like, she's like, is he breathing? I'm like, yes, he's breathing. She's like, well, I just love him. I'm like, I know you love him. I love him too. And I promise if he were not breathing, I would be reacting differently. I'm just walking around holding him. Is he still breathing? He's breathing, baby. I know you love him. He's breathing. But like, you know, who knows what Millie Bobby Brown is like with the kid. And not to say that she's wrong for any of it either. But people getting emotionally invested in a relationship that they know nothing about because of pictures that they have seen on the internet is straight up insane person behavior. It is insane person behavior.
She's been getting shit ever since they got engaged from people. Everything she does is highly scrutinized. I would agree with just the assertion that they're probably very different people with different approaches to life, because Jake Bongiovi is a Nepo kid. He basically doesn't work in any serious way, probably never has. Millie Bobby Brown, on the other hand, has worked to financially provide for her family since she was like 11 or 12 years old. So I assume that they have very different mindsets and value systems, and they're going to need to work to navigate those differences between them. People are also pointing out that, according to Millie Bobby Brown's account of how they met and started dating, she was the one who showed interest first when he wasn't really thinking about dating her. She's the one who pursued him and perhaps this is how she ended up in a situation where she's more invested in their family dynamic than he seems to be. Again, we don't know any of the details of their relationship.
Yeah, he would have
and
to.
people are using this, like these stills from paparazzi, to say like this is what it's like to date or marry a man or have a child with a man in 2025, when it has nothing to do with that.
Well, yeah, I
or
mean,
society.
You could tell that the people that were talking about this were going to immediately extrapolate from this onto all men.
Yeah.
It isn't even fair to extrapolate onto all of just Jake Bongiovi, because you've seen 8 seconds of their entire life. But if I was him, I'd be like, babe, I get it, but you're going to need to let me carry the baby in public sometimes, because my stock is dropping.
Just the fact that they decided to start a family at the age that they are, I find impressive.
They're both early 20s, right?
Yes.
She's, I believe, 21. I think they're both about the same age. Yeah, so they're quite young. That's something that most people their age wouldn't do.
How old is John
And
Bon Jovi?
I find it impressive.
He's probably in his 60s now, right? Bon Jovi?
I just saw that Ashley Tisdale, by the way, decided, she made the announcement that she's deciding to change her public name to Ashley French to reflect her marital name, which she legally took, but now it's going to be her stage name. Like, her performing name is going to be Ashley French, and people are also giving her shit for that, because just any way that your life may change once you're married or have kids is somehow demeaning.
Yeah.
Like people are saying, like, you know, diva down, like this is so sad, like we thought that we were going to keep the old Ashley Tisdale.
What does it even mean, you weirdo?
Like they feel emotionally attached to her name more than she does.
Stan culture is the most toxic aspect of American pop culture. It really is.
Like,
it's the
she's
most
in her
parasocial.
40s.
It's the most parasocial out of all of them.
And they're like, oh my gosh, like Sharpay would never do this. Like the character that she played in High School Musical 20 years ago? Yeah, I guess not. And, you know, I think a lot of this air of resentment comes from the circles of social media where moms commune, specifically. Like, these are the most toxic places on the internet. They judge each other for everything. They commiserate with each other in a way that's totally destructive. They promote, you know, neuroticism. It's just like, I was reminded of this because I saw this tweet the other day that said mom groups are 90% a negative influence, even the Christian ones. Mostly a complaining roundtable. They encourage each other to do less. Just getting dressed in the morning is an achievement, and similar talk. Husband bashing is common. Most still have complexes with their own mothers that they impose onto their children. Stay away from these groups or peek in and see for yourself. And
I mean, the number one
true.
there is, first of all, the husband bashing is awful, but the just getting up in the morning is enough is like, that's the scourge on society right now. Like, you know, just the fact that you're alive and breathing is enough, and you should feel validated by it. Now, I do believe that there is a point where you should be grateful for everything that you have, but that doesn't mean you just sit there in your own slop and exist. It means that you have to continue forward while holding a feeling of gratitude towards all that you have in life. But instead, it's more used as a way to just kind of put off doing anything and just being like, oh, you know what? I got out of bed today. That's enough.
There are basically two camps on...
Guys, first of all, I will say, like, women... That's not acceptable, but more understandable. Dudes should never take that mindset. Like, that's really sad.
There are basically two camps on mommy social media, where one is saying, no matter what choice you make, it's valid, and you deserve to be applauded for just existing. And the other side of the mommy social media says everything you do is wrong.
Can we find a middle ground?
It would be great if we could find a middle ground. But it's like the one camp of moms saying, like, yeah, feed them, you know, red dye 40 and put them in front of Coco Melon. You're doing your best, queen. And then the other side of social media for moms says, like, if you didn't free birth in a river, you're a failure as a mother. And, like, all of the women that are deeply entrenched in these social media communities take it incredibly seriously. And they let people that they don't know change their entire mindset about their own families.
Those are just different types of human toxicity, though. One is the nothing is ever good enough, you're a failure. The other one is pretending that bad doesn't exist and just toxic positivity on the internet.
Or just like pretending that some things can't be better than other things. For instance, the huge controversy around whether you breastfeed or formula feed. It's like this huge thing that they argue about constantly. And the one side says, fed is best, mama, you're doing amazing. And breastfeeding isn't better than formula feeding. That's objectively not true. But then the other side says, if you don't breastfeed, you're a piece of shit failure of a mom. Like, can we just be reasonable for like 2 seconds?
That's not what the internet is for. Like, that's not what the internet is for. No. Everybody in this space, especially if it starts to monetize and build a following for yourself, you're incentivized to become more out there and more incredulous with your views. You're expected to become more radical.
But I don't disagree with that, right? That the algorithm does incentivize people to make content that polarizes people. But at the same time, most of what we're talking about is the response from people that are not creators. Most of this conversation is about the stands and the people that are
where do they
watching
get those
this content
ideas from? They likely got them from creators.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that they react emotionally, and then they're like, oh, this is the way things are supposed to be. This is what I see. This is the way I see things. And if you don't, then you're a bad person, and they have this emotional reaction.
It's very hard for a creator in the space to stay above water if they don't start to become more radical. You have to be very well spoken and have very, very nuanced opinions, and you have to kind of find an audience that wants that. The rest of it, from what you're talking about, just individuals on the internet, that is the product of talking to people you have no human connection with in the real world, right? You would, if you had a best friend, your best friend since childhood has a kid and has to bottle feed once in a while. You're not gonna be like, you know what, best friend since 3rd grade, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Like, you're a piece of shit because you won't do what I say, right? You'll give them leeway. But the internet doesn't allow for leeway because you're not talking to somebody as if they're a human being.
Well, even in real life, people silently judge you for all kinds of things, but they would never have the guts to say it to your face.
That's a good thing. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Or
not every idea you have must be shared with everyone.
Share it. You know what? If you want to talk behind their back, that is also your human right. Not everything needs to be shared with someone. The most annoying person on the internet is the person who just wants to be a dick, but talks about it as if it's creative, criticism, as it's constructive criticism, though it's rarely couched in those terms.
Yeah, this is...
the person who's good at giving you constructive criticism, and they don't have that bone in their body. But the one who just wants to be a jerk for the sake of being a jerk loves to criticize without any sort of decorum.
This is adjacent to the I want to have sex with toasters idea. Right, like
yeah.
in the normal world, if you're a person that's like, man, I want to have sex with toasters, no one around you agrees, and they're gonna say, if you tell someone, they're gonna say, that's weird, shut up and knock it off. But with the internet, you're gonna go and be like, I want to have sex with toasters, and you're gonna Google it, and there's gonna be a Reddit thread with 1,000 people that say, man, I want to have sex with toasters too,
and
so they're gonna be like,
this is normal, and people
exactly.
need to accept us for wanting to have toasters.
So.
Time to normalize.
And so with this, in this context, it's, someone wants to say something critical, they say something critical, and then there's 500 people that like it or what have you, and people that valorize your criticism, and so it's like, oh, I must be right, so I should continue to make these remarks, blah blah blah. So.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.